Hello everyone, my name is Bramwell Tovey. I'm the Music Director Emeritus of the Vancouver Symphony Orchestra. I used to work here and I have the greatest memories of my life living and being in Vancouver, and it's such a pleasure to return for the concerts this weekend, especially as my good friend and the extraordinary artist Yefim Bronfman is our soloist. And Yefim, universally known, if I might say so, in the musical world as FEMA. May I call you FEMA on tape? Is that okay?
Of course it's okay. I don't know if it's okay with the Federal Emergency Management Agency.
Oh, let's hope so.
Yeah, me too, yes.
How are you?
I think I'm okay, yes. I'm, but nice to be talking to you without a mask on.
Yeah, that's nice. And we're suitably distanced and the chairs are very comfortable. So
yes.
You played a lot during...
By the way, the chairs don't recline. I'm a little bit nervous.
Is that okay? Well, we can hold everything up and buy some chairs if that's...
Like in the airline, first class airline.
Yes, yes. Well, just wait until the drinks come round and then we might, yeah.
Yes, shall we order?
Yeah, we could order
some
now,
martinis,
yeah.
Yes.
You've been playing a lot during the COVID crisis, but what's it like to get back on stage now when masks are being used less and less, audiences are coming back? How has it been for you?
It's been wonderful. It's been a very difficult year, I have to say. A lot of obstacles, a lot of tests, and I don't need to tell you how complicated. And from state to state, from country to country, it's very complicated. Like to go in February to Germany was just impossible. And some trips were cancelled because of bureaucracy in various countries. For instance, Spain had to be cancelled last minute because it's just one thing after another. It never got resolved, and I had to cancel my trip to Spain. And last week I was playing in somewhere on West Coast also, and had to play Rachmaninoff Concerto with a mask on. So from city to city, from state to state, there are different rules, different regulations, and one has to comply and have to be flexible. So,
right. It's tough though, isn't it, because sometimes you can just have a simple test, and sometimes you've got to have the PCR, and you've got to get it right, and you've got to file it on your app on your phone. Do you do all that yourself, or do you have people help you with it? I have to have people help me.
I've learned now how to do it myself, but I also have people helping me,
Yeah.
wonderful management who helps me with that.
Well, we are so pleased to have you, and so pleased that we can have you in person on stage here at the Orpheum, where you've played many times, and we're not, in fact, live streaming this concert. This is just our audience on stage and our orchestra, and our audience in the hall and our orchestra on stage. Do you find when there's a microphone going that it inhibits you, or do you tend not to think about that? Do you just sort of get on with it, whatever the circumstances? Does a microphone affect a performance?
I am better with that now than a year ago. When the whole thing started, there was only virtual concerts. Some of them were live.
Yeah.
And it took me some time to actually get used to it. It was a little scary. I remember playing with Berlin Philharmonic, Brahms 1, live. And their audiences go to Japan and everywhere. They have live audience, a lot of people, and have empty hall and just playing Brahms Concerto.
Strange feeling, eh?
It's a very strange feeling. I was really scared, but now I have had some live events that I'm getting used to it. Everything, it takes a little bit of time to adjust and to get used to it. Somehow I paid less attention to the cameras and usually people are very good. They learned a lot not to be in your face.
Right.
The cameras are hardly visible, and
yes, they're very subtle, aren't they?
so you just play, and whatever happens, happens, and I think that's fine.
I remember being at the George Enescu Festival in Bucharest around about 2004 or so, and there were no cameras at the dress rehearsal, and in the concert they were walking all around the stage, and I turned around to bring the cellos in, and there was a camera right there in front of me. So, but nowadays it's all so subtle, you don't see all those kinds of things.
Well, actually, I was there a couple of months ago, and there was live TV, not just the virtual, but it was live TV and also on the internet, and there were I would say, less subtle than other places. They're walking around
All right.
right somewhere near me. So in the, I could see in my peripheral vision, I could see them and
Right.
feel them, not being very subtle, but I got through that somehow. But
Well, brilliantly, I'm sure. You played some Rachmaninoff here, I think, a few years ago, but we played all 5 Beethoven concertos about 5 years ago.
correct, yes.
Here, and then you played them the same season in New York with the New York Philharmonic.
Yes.
And now the 3rd concerto of Beethoven is one that you must have played many, many times in your career. What's the sensation like when you approach a work like this? Is it an old friend that you're glad to see again, and there are new perspectives? How do you feel?
Well, you know, nobody needs to hear it from me again, but this is one of the greatest masterpieces of piano literature, of any literature and music. I mean, this is one of the greatest concertos ever written, and I think that it is an old friend, but also when you know a friend for a long time, the relationship become more complicated and more dimensions to them. Than when you know a person well, you know a friend well. It doesn't mean it gets easier. I think you will constantly have to work on the relationship, on friendship, and the same with music. I think that this music has so much to offer that we don't see, but then when you play it again, and hopefully you see new dimensions to the music, and I think that you all of a sudden discover new horizon somewhere there, and I think it's that's the beauty of this profession in a way, that the great music like this always has something new to offer. There's some repertoire than lesser composers than Beethoven. Then you get tired a little bit, and you kind of becomes a little shallow. At least it might be my problem, but some concertos, some repertoire I don't want to play again because I just don't find any challenging anymore. But with this music, it has never happened. I think that I'm always challenged, and I always want to do better and differently. That's just the way it is.
What about the piano itself, the instrument? Of course, you're not able to take your piano around with you on the aeroplane. Here you'll have a choice of 3 grand pianos. There's 2 Hamburgs, a brand new one, which I haven't played yet myself, an older Hamburg and the New York Steinway. And you'll obviously go and choose your weapon of choice shortly. Do you find you have to alter your conception of the piece depending on the instrument, or how does that manifest itself?
Well, a good piano, I think, will enhance your ideas, but the lesser piano, you will have to adjust to the piano to make the music. So I think it's a huge difference in the way we feel as pianists. But sometimes the piano is not very good, and we have to, in order to avoid that ugly or brittle sound on the instrument, we have to adjust how to play it, and that takes extra energy. But on a good piano, I think good piano will help you in many ways. That the piano has a lot of ambience to it, and has, very often I judge piano not how loud it is, but how softly it can play and still speak. I think that's what music needs, this soft color that make the piano good or bad. I think that is a secret, at least in my mind. So one hopes for the good piano, but I've had quite a lot of experience playing all kinds of instruments, and I do best I can on any given instrument. I think, as one of my teachers, Rudolf Serkin, used to say, there are no bad pianos, there are bad pianists. I can partially agree with that. He himself would pick up the best piano and travel with that for the whole recital, and then would get rid of it. So he would, I think that some pianos that sometimes one plays, he would not want to play on, even. So, you don't always, whatever you say and what you do are sometimes 2 different things.
So maybe some of the people watching this don't realize that actually Steinway make pianos in Hamburg, and they make them in New York. And the ones from Hamburg have the shiny case, and the ones from New York have a more matte finish. Do you have a preference for New York, Hamburg?
Well, first of all, they make now in New York Steinway, they make also shiny.
Ah, okay.
And I prefer that because you can actually look at it and adjust your hair, and it's like a mirror a little bit.
Yeah.
No, joking aside, it makes no difference to
Yeah.
me. You know, I think it can be pink, I don't care, but as long as it
Right.
sounds good.
And it can be pink nowadays. You
Oh,
can,
sure,
you can have the piano any
white,
color to
and I've
match
seen
the-
red pianos you play on, but you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
they usually don't sound very good. But
Right. Fima, it's such a joy that my week back here with the orchestra, first week since COVID, is with you. It's such a pleasure to have you come to Vancouver again. For many of us in the orchestra and for musicians, I know that it was the same thing, that cycle of Beethoven concertos was one of the most memorable events of the last decade, and it was an extraordinary experience to follow your vision in chronological order through those pieces. So I'm just thrilled that you're able to be here, and thank you very much for
thank
coming.
you. And I likewise thrilled to be working with you again and to be here in Vancouver with your former orchestra, and I think that it's really, I'm very excited and looking forward to play with you again.
Thanks, my friend. Great to see you.
Great to see you.